My name is Michael Borchmann. I am an educated lawyer. That means I studied law at Frankfurt University and a little bit at Cambridge University in England. I started my professional work as an assistant at the German University of Applied Administrative Sciences, and then I started my career, and there I stayed for the government of Hessen province, and I worked in the State Chancellery, that is the office of the Prime Minister, you would say in China, the governor, and I also worked within the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Interior and even in the Ministry of Justice, but finally I was again in the State Chancellery, and before retirement I worked as a Director General for European and International Affairs. My promotion, my doctor's thesis was not about international affairs, but about a local government organization in Germany. Let us begin with the China-German relations. So you can say it was just a big story of big success. Only very few figures. In 1972, when the relations started, there was a trade volume about 274 million US dollar. And meanwhile, we have an amount of about 300 billion US dollar. You see from this difference how impressive the growth has been. We have also very dynamically growing of foreign direct investments from both sides. And I think even last year, German foreign direct investments in China had a new record high. And besides, many German companies have meanwhile settled in China, because not only the big companies like Bosch or BMW, but also small and medium enterprises. And why do they do this? Because for them the Chinese market is so interesting and they need these settlements for their own success. And in general, since about more than 10 years, China and Germany are linked by a so-called comprehensive strategic partnership. And this says a lot also about the closeness of the relations. So concerning the European Union, perhaps one point is that Germany is the strongest economy within the European Union. And so successful relation to Germany also influences the relation between China and the European Union. But besides, we have a saying in Germany, nothing is more successful than the success itself. So whenever enterprises in other countries see that the Germans make a good deal incorporating with China, they will follow this way. And besides also the states of the European Union, one more, one less, are also looking for deep contact to China. Just for our neighbors, Austria, for example, they have also a strategic partnership, and they have lifted this to a friendly strategic partnership. Or look to Mr. Macron in France. He just last year he signed a lot of very fundamental agreements with China to promote the bilateral economic exchange. And the relations between the European Union and China, European Union itself, it also deepened very much and dynamically. So nowadays the European Union and China are from both sides the most important trading partners, at least among the most important trading partners. So, of course, I don't say this because being proud of my nationality, but apparently it is like this, as I heard it, that Chinese are very fond of the quality of German products. Yes, I often heard from Chinese, oh yes, these products are reliable, and so we want to buy these products. And besides these, among especially the SME, small and medium enterprises, are also many hidden champions. I think the biggest number of hidden champions in the world are located in Germany. And hidden champions that are highly successful, small, middle-sized companies that excel in their niche. They are not well known by the public, yes, but they produce things absolutely necessary for a lot of things. So this is really also a very helpful and reason of success in the big Chinese production, that they have these enterprises with that knowledge within their country close to them. What can be optimized? I am no man of economy, so I have no personal experience with an enterprise within China, but there are some remarks I heard by German companies that say, despite that permanent opening up policy of China, official opening up policy, quite a couple of German enterprises feel a discrimination against local companies. That might be the origin within local governments, or I don't know. At least I had a couple of complaints. So if they are right or wrong, my opinion is at least it should be thoroughly checked. The green development has great importance to your government and to our government here in Germany. And I remember President Xi Jinping very often said, clear waters and green mountains are more valuable than mountains of gold and silver. But our government also looks very concentrated to the green development. So both sides have a good basic for a cooperation on this. I don't think that in this area there are special prerequisites. They should cooperate like on other fields, perhaps even a little bit more, because to make this more dynamically because of the needs of our environment. But in general, they have to continue the successful path. I regard this being very, very important. So, for example, let me mention very important, for example, that are these city, but also even county twinnings. And I learned that the first city twinning between Duisburg and Wuhan had been in 1982. And more than 100 twinnings followed. Of course, I cannot observe in all these cities and counties how it works. Maybe some work better, some are a little bit tired and inactive. But my native town is Frankfurt. And at least I could watch that they have a very lively twinning with Guangzhou. And there are exchanges and mutual visits of the mayors. Our Frankfurt mayor visits Guangzhou, and Guangzhou mayor comes to Frankfurt. And in Frankfurt they even, for some time, had a tramway, and there was written Guangzhou on it. And they have a Chinese garden in Frankfurt. The Chinese garden, a typical Chinese traditional garden. Yeah, and we had some trouble here because some of very nice traditional buildings were burned down. The house in the Korean garden and a very nice old tower in Frankfurt, Goethe Tower, made of wood. Also, unknown person burned it down. And also in the Chinese garden, the buildings were burned down, but there came laborers from China to reconstruct it. Yes, and you can see from this how important that is. And under the roof of the city twinning, there have developed partnerships, contacts between schools. I remember there was one school in Frankfurt, they had a regular exchange with a Guangzhou middle school. And that means that, I don't know how it is after Corona, but there was a break between, because of Corona. Then students from Frankfurt went to Guangzhou, yes, and for 2 or 3 weeks. And the next year, the students from Guangzhou came to Frankfurt. And I remember they, for example, made a common cooking book, where there were, for example, how you prepare Jauze and how to prepare Frankfurt sausages. Yeah, and so very lively activities. So this also means the people who meet people. So, for example, if German students meet very closely Chinese students and appreciate them, and there are friendships, they won't believe if some propaganda organizations put in our newspaper, China are bad people and don't trust the Chinese. Yes, because they have a real basic personal experience, and they are not, they have a firewall against that propaganda, which unfortunately you find in a couple of German media. And there is, and the exchanges, you can make it on other fields, yeah? If you exchange scientists, or you have an exchange of musicians. For example, there in North Rhine-Westphalia, there is you say middle school in Germany, you say Gymnasium, in Essen, and they have a very concentrated Chinese lessons, and they present songs in Chinese language. So, for example, when there was Corona, they made a Chinese song, singing Chinese song, made a movie and sent it to their friends in China. Yes, and they also, I think they visited also China. So these are only a few examples why I think the people-to-people dialogue is very, very important. Just another example. In the city of Frankfurt, now at the end of January, the Chinese community, and we have quite a big Chinese community in this region, they celebrated their Chunjie in the heart of Frankfurt for 3 days. There were stands where you could eat Chinese, and there were stages where there were Chinese dancing. Yes, and it was just 3 days in the center, in the heart of the city. That means many German people had to pass this, and they stayed there and they looked, and this also was something, a real basic people-to-people dialogue. Yeah, you look, my former official position as a Director General International Affairs. I was Director General for International and European Affairs, but I had 9 directors under me responsible for European affairs, but only 1 for international affairs. And if you compare Europe and the rest of the world, there is far more. So I said, okay, my European directors, they do their job and they do it well. So I took care more for the international. And so as I already mentioned, that the Chinese community here is very big. Yes, and so they started and said, here come, and would you please, and we have this event, and give us the honor, and so it became deeper. And yes, because the Chinese community is the most active, and they are open to the outside. There are other communities, they are all quite big, but they are more among themselves. So I also had been had to deliver speeches in my official functions when there was the National Day of Korea or there was the National Day of India, but there never I was addressed by so many people like if I was at the Chinese National Day. If you are on a path which is very successful, you should not leave this path and remain walking on this path. And look at our economy. There is one reason why I'm especially proud of our economic leaders. You remember that last year we had this discussion about that the EU lifted tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Yeah? And there was much opposition against this by our leaders of our German automotive industry. They didn't want it, and they resisted very much against it. And they resisted so strong against it that our government, even on the political level of the European Union, voted against it. Okay, there was a majority for it, and then these tariffs were made. But this is something our economic leaders argued for open economy, the opening up and not closing. Yes, and this makes me proud and confident that they will remain on this path of success. And what other advice could I give them? Yes, I think they are on a good way. But, and there is the actual situation, you see, Germany is for an open economy, China is for an open economy, and now we have this excesses of tariffs in the USA, which really damages the whole world economy. So there is far more reason for our economic leaders, but also for our politicians to cooperate closer and closer with the country which has the same idea of an open economy. Germany, of course, stay on the path of success together with China. And my recommendation to the EU is look to the German example and also continue cooperating with China, cooperating as an open economy with another open economy. EU and China, this year you celebrate your 50th birthday. And I wish you for the future, for the next 50 years, all the best. Continue on the path of success, of further development, even in a world which has become so inquiet. So EU and China should bring some stabilization in this inquiet world. This I wish you for the future.